This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. Arson suspected in a blaze at a Coral Heights home. A man shot overnight. And we are talking about your credit scores with the Credit Bureau, CRIF Bahamas. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. This is 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll be talking with St. George's Anglican Church about their Thrill of the Grill and Raffle event coming up. That's all ahead, but first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, investigations continue into a shooting. This happened yesterday. A man shot near Wilton Street. One man was injured, and a few other details available right up to now. We're hoping we'll have more for you in our 8 o'clock news update. We understand the man was taken to the hospital. His condition not clear at this time. Police suspect arson in a fire that almost destroyed a home in the Coral Heights area. It happened early Tuesday morning, sometime around 3 o'clock. Neighbors say they were awakened by car alarms going off. One neighbor reporting that she saw a garage on fire. Again, police suspect arson. According to their report, they were alerted to a vehicle fire at the home on Roberts Boulevard shortly after 3 a.m. When they responded, they found the entire home and all 4 vehicles engulfed in flames. Police say a man wearing a white shirt and black pants lit one of the vehicles on fire. A neighbor says security cameras captured the perpetrator. Investigations, of course, continue into that matter. Free National Movement Fox Hill candidate Dr. Nicholas Fox, vandalism of his medical center on Collins Avenue may have been done to intimidate him, though he could not be certain. Fox's employees found the office ransacked on Monday morning. He said perpetrators tried to access his desktop computer and stole tablets that hold patient information. Fox noted the vandalism happened just several days after he was ratified and added that he got a tremendous response from the public. After that news broke, he found it curious that stuff, quote, stuff that contained information was taken, but noted that cash was also stolen. F&M leader Michael Pintard raising concern over the government's plans to borrow more than $1 billion, referring to a recent international bond offering and a loan from the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean. The $100 million CAF loan announced earlier this week is to help facilitate the Davis administration's energy reform plans. Pintard noted that while $767 million of the funds from the bond offering is earmarked to refinance existing debt, that leaves $400 million in new borrowing that will be added to the national debt. He said this contradicts the government's projections of a $70 million deficit for the financial year that ended June 30th and the target of a $75 million surplus for the 2025-2026 year. A Supreme Court judge directing a jury to acquit a man accused of armed robbery and receiving. Prosecutors had alleged that Devon Pinder, otherwise known as Deli, held up Isaac Bethel on February 25, 2022, and robbed him of a 2009 Nissan March, a cell phone, and a MacBook Pro, and a Wi-Fi box. In New Providence at night when he was robbed, Pinder, who has a cross tattooed in the middle of his forehead, denied the allegation at his trial before Justice Wilhelmina Archer Mins. Bethel identified Pinder as his assailant, but he made no mention of the distinctive tattoo. The judge withdrew the case from jurors and directed them to return not guilty verdicts after she upheld a no-case submission by defense lawyer David Cash. A high school dropout who ditched a loaded gun while being chased by the police, sentenced to 30 months in prison Tuesday. Mario Forbes received the sentence after he pleaded guilty to possession of an unlicensed firearm and ammunition at his arraignment before Magistrate Lennox Colby. On Sunday, June 29th, police officers on patrol went to Kennedy Subdivision Park after they received information. On arrival, they saw three young men who ran after they looked in his direction from the officers. During the pursuit, Forbes dropped a 9mm pistol containing 15 rounds of ammunition. Forbes was caught in an abandoned building and taken back to the area where he tossed the weapon. In mitigation, Alfonso Lewis said that Forbes had the gun, but he had no intention of using it. Lewis said that Forbes had fallen victim to peer pressure. Colby gave Forbes credit for his early guilty plea and recommended that he be enrolled in vocational classes at the prison. An American businessman who failed to declare his licensed firearm on a boating trip to the Bahamas was fined $15,000 on Tuesday. Gerardo Delfin, the co-owner of a Miami-based construction company, paid the fine to avoid spending 30 months in prison. Delfin pleaded guilty to possession of an unlicensed firearm and ammunition at his arraignment before Magistrate Lennox Colby Sr. According to the prosecution, officers from the Defense Force boarded a vessel that was docked at Atlantis Marina on June 30th. During a search of the vessel, magazines each containing 10 unfired rounds of .40 caliber ammunition. Delfin told the police his wife had cleared customs. He said she did not declare the firearm because she was unaware that he had brought it for his protection. He has a concealed carry permit in Florida that expires in 2028. Meanwhile, Colby noted the gun was discovered soon after Delfin's arrival. According to the court, Delfin had up to 48 hours to declare the weapon and ammunition. Overseas, Hamas suggesting today that it was open to a ceasefire agreement with Israel, but stopped short of accepting a U.S.-backed proposal announced by U.S. President Donald Trump hours earlier, insisting on its long-standing position that any deal bring an end to the war in Gaza. Trump said Tuesday that Israel had agreed on terms for a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza and urged Hamas to accept the deal before conditions worsen. The U.S. leader has been increasing pressure on Israel and Hamas to broker a ceasefire and hostage agreement and bring about an end to the war. Trump said the 60-day period would be used to work toward ending the war, something Israel says it won't accept unless Hamas is defeated. He said that a deal might come together as soon as next week. But Hamas's response, which emphasized its demand that the war end, raised questions about whether the latest offer could materialize into an actual pause in fighting. And the son of notorious Mexican Chapo intends to plead guilty to drug trafficking charges in the U.S., according to court documents filed Tuesday. Prosecutors allege that Ovidio Guzman Lopez, along with his brother Joaquin Guzman Lopez, ran a faction of the cartel known as Chapitos, or Little Chapos, that exported fentanyl to the United States. Ovidio Guzman Lopez's father is Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the former leader of the Sinaloa cartel who smuggled mountains of cocaine and other drugs into the U.S. for over 25 years. Ovidio Guzman Lopez was arrested in Mexico in 2023 and extradited to the United States. He was charged in federal court in Chicago with money laundering, drug trafficking, drug and firearms offenses. And Venezuela's ruling party-controlled National Assembly Tuesday declared Volker Turk, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, persona non grata, criticizing the UN official for failing to protect the rights of Venezuelan migrants deported by the Trump administration to a prison in El Salvador. The rare diplomatic designation had no immediate practical effect, but reflected the broader anger of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro at the UN agency that monitors and defends human rights. It comes just days after Turk said his office had documented increasing arbitrary detentions, enforced disappearances, and torture under Maduro's government. The National Assembly President, Jorge Rodriguez, who is Maduro's chief negotiator with the U.S., said, quote, Turk turns a blind eye to atrocious crimes. He does nothing for the human rights of Venezuelans in the United States and El Salvador. El Salvador is holding 252 Venezuelans deported from the U.S. in a maximum security prison. Turk recently urged the U.S. to halt deportations of Venezuelans who may be at risk of arrest in their home country and raised concerns about the lack of due process and mass deportations from the U.S. It's time for sports, brought to you by Kalik. Sydney Clark and her team, TC Gruden Weisby, turning in some impressive performances in the Summer League, the Verbandsliga Summer League, earning them promotion for the next year in Germany. This is tennis we're talking about. Clark ended her summer stint with the team going undefeated in singles and doubles matchups. You can read all about that in today's Guardian Sports section. From Wimbledon. Before Wimbledon began, Coco Gauff reflected on the significance of her breakthrough performance at the place that went to the fourth round at age 15 and what aspirations she harbored as she prepared to return. A week after that conversation, the number 2 ranked Gauff was out of the bracket of the All-England Club in the first round with a 7-6, 6-1 loss to an unseeded player, Diana Yastrimenka of Ukraine. Gauff was undone by serving troubles, including 9 double faults and more than 24 unforced errors, not to mention Yastrimenka's hard, flat ground strokes. It was an abrupt, mistake-filled exit for Gauff, who so recently earned her second Grand Slam title at the French Open with a 3-set victory over number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in the final. And from the NBA, Miles Turner has agreed to a 4-year deal to join the Milwaukee Bucks, who waived 9-time All-Star Damian Lillard to make the acquisition happen. That's according to a person with knowledge of the move, speaking to the Associated Press. Turner's agreeing to a deal that ends his enter the player option after spending the entirety of his first 10 seasons with the Indiana Pacers, which went to the NBA Finals this past season. The remaining $112.6 million owed to Lillard will be paid out over the next 5 seasons via the NBA's stretch provision. ESPN first reported the plan by the Pacers and Bucks, and Turner agreed to a contract. They're saying that he agreed to a contract worth $107 million. Indiana expects to be without star guard Tyrese Halliburton for the entirety of the coming season because he ruptured his Achilles tendon in Game 7 of the NBA Finals against Oklahoma City Thunder, while playing through what was diagnosed as a calf strain. Lillard is also likely to miss most, if not all, of the coming season. He will be free to sign with anyone he chooses, and teams could sign him now, give him a chance to continue his recovery, and do so with the hope that the 7-time All-Star selection is fully ready to go by the start of the 2026-2027 He also battling Achilles tendon injuries. At sports, brought to you by Click. Pop the Top is back and it's bigger than ever. Click the Beer of the Bahamas giving away up to $200,000 in cash and prizes. Purchase your favorite Click beer and look on the cap. You could be a winner. Free Click beer, Click merch, and cold hard cash could be yours just for drinking Click. Click reminds you to drink responsibly, buddy. Got your first look at weather brought to you by Star General. Residual mid to low-level troughing and ample tropical moisture across the northern Bahamas will continue to support periods of unsettled weather today. Meanwhile, a thin Saharan dust plume and building high pressure will maintain drier and more stable conditions elsewhere across the country through tonight. So that high pressure is going to continue to build across the island, supporting relatively drier conditions across most areas, while troughing lingers just north of the northern Bahamas. By the end of the week, shower and thunderstorm chances will increase across the country as deep tropical moisture infiltrates the area ahead of a descending frontal boundary and associated troughing. Residents in the extreme northern islands are urged to exercise caution as there could be some flooding following heavy rainfall events. For most of the country, though, the heat index and the UV index going to be an issue today. Advised to wear loose-fitting clothing and sunscreen while outdoors. Take frequent breaks. UV indices expected to be in the high range. Heat indices will reach the triple digits as well. Beachgoers and swimmers should exercise caution along East Coast beaches and Atlantic exposures in the central and southeast Bahamas. Your forecast for today for the northern and northwest Bahamas, partly cloudy to cloudy and hazy, turning partly cloudy tonight. A 30 to 40% chance of ice storms for the extreme northern islands, 10 to 20% chance for the rest of the country. Wind southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts in the northern islands, southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots for the northwest Bahamas, east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots with higher gusts for the central and southeast Bahamas, which will see partly sunny conditions today, hazy during the day, becoming mostly fair at night. Temperature-wise today, look for highs around 91 Fahrenheit, but the heat index will make you feel like it's around 102 Fahrenheit, 39 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 80, 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and look at the tropics coming up in just a bit. This weather check brought to you by Star General Insurance, made simple.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Only one item?
Are you tired of limited choices?
I'll have the one item on the menu, thank you.
Wow!
So many choices.
Why settle for less when you deserve more? When it comes to the ways you pay, the more, the better. With a variety of payment options available, you could choose what works best for you. Choose freedom. Choose flexibility. Choose from the full menu of payment options. The future of pay is digital.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment. Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
Looking to elevate your gadget game, or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows, or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination. Beatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village. Or call 396-1100.
Southwest Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, there, the Athlete's Foot and BTC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive, Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's Clarkson Island Luck, Starbucks and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore.
Abaco, get ready for the summer's official rum and beer link call. Royalty Sounds present Found Fast. Found Fast. Saturday, July 5th, Morris Harbor, Abaco at the Royal Recreational Lounge. Gates open 5 p.m., $20 entry. Ladies free before 8 p.m. with Nassau and Abaco's hottest DJ. Don't miss the beer drinkers versus rum drinkers competition.
Right, pulling for the best side, icicle liquor.
Can't run for me. Found Fast, July 5th, Abaco. Sponsored by Collect, the Beer of the Bahamas. Drink responsibly.
Living paycheck to paycheck, at Fidelity, we can help you take control of your money, build savings, and create a financial future you're proud of. And we'll do it free of charge. Transform your financial future with our coaching sessions today. Make that move. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Wendy's and Coca-Cola is giving away up to $25,000 of hot cash this summer. Upgrade any premium combo from 1 through 12 to a medium or a large for your chance to win the grand prize of $10,000. Don't miss your chance to win big this summer. Visit your neighborhood Wendy's, upgrade your favorite lunch combo, and win hot cash. Rules and restrictions apply.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Abaco, get ready for the summer's official rum and beer link call. Royalty Sounds present Found Fast. Found Fast. Saturday, July 5th, Morris Harbor, Abaco at the Royal Recreational Ground. Gates open 5 p.m., $20 entry. Ladies free before 8 p.m. with Nassau and Abaco's hottest DJ. Don't miss the beer drinkers versus rum drinkers competition.
Right, pulling for the best side, icicle liquor.
Can't run for me. Found Fast, July 5th, Abaco. Sponsored by Collect, the Beer of the Bahamas. Drink responsibly.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. Also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Float, Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796, standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Chester Robards. Chester Robards, good morning.
Good morning.
Back from Africa.
Yes, back from Nigeria.
Wonderful, wonderful. How was that experience?
Yeah, it was very interesting. A lot of interesting things and people and tastes and smells. It was very interesting.
Yeah, did you get to go out beyond where you were? Did you get to see other parts of the country?
No, we pretty much between the conference hotel and the hotel we were staying at.
Yeah.
Got across the road to a little craft village. So that was interesting. All authentically made African things. So that was cool to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
but just around Abuja, really, just things around that area.
Yeah, and Abuja is the capital, but not the big city. Not the big. Is that right?
And I think Lagos might be bigger.
Yeah, but exciting, great experience, I'm sure. Wonderful.
Yes, absolutely.
Good to have you back, though.
Thank
Got a lot to talk about this morning. Coming up, hey, we know about this church, St. George's Anglican Church. Thrill of the Grill, the annual event coming up in a few days, and their raffle. We'll find out more about that. And then later, CRIF Bahamas, the credit bureau. We're going to be talking with them. They were on a few weeks back, and we said we had to have them back because we had so many questions and so many callers and questions coming in, so we needed more time. And we're going to do that today in Morning Blend Business. So that's all ahead, but let's talk about what else is in the news. And in the news, quite a few interesting stories in the papers today. This arson, this suspected arson of this home in Coral Heights, getting a lot of people talking. And this is some major damage. Wow, just 4 cars destroyed in this as well. And the family, I mean, definitely homeless, as you can't live in this thing.
And the entire house.
Yeah, just crazy. And police investigating this now, but what in God's name could possess somebody to do something like this? Really, really scary.
Possession, it must be possession. That's all I could think.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Just a terrible story.
And I kind of know the family.
Oh, really? Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. That is rough. That's rough. Well, we hoping for the best for everybody here. But my goodness.
Thankfully, people have sprung into action to help them, so it's always good.
Yeah. Okay. This is really interesting. An American visitor injured in waters off Exuma after he was hit by a boat. So residents in Exuma are calling for better emergency care services after an American tourist who was injured in a boating accident on Monday had to be transported to the clinic on the back of a truck. Our Caitlin Babb, Minister of Health, Dr. Michael Darville, said yesterday the nurse on the island made the decision for the patient to be transported to the clinic via private vehicle and not in an ambulance. Darville said, quote, "This was based purely on urgency and logistics." Police said the American man was snorkeling near the shoreline in Tar Bay around 7:30 p.m. when he was struck by a 20-foot Boston whaler. He received lacerations to his lower body and was helped.
Okay.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Okay, he received lacerations to his lower body and was helped to shore by locals who transported him to the clinic. He was airlifted to the U.S. on Tuesday and was last listed in stable but serious condition. So one Exuma resident, Reno Curling, a photographer who was shooting on the beach when the accident happened, told the Nassau Guardian that he contacted the local clinic, but medical help never came. So he says they were doing a photo shoot. His back was turned to where the boat was coming, so he didn't see the guy get hit. But, quote, once I turned, I saw the boat flying by, and we were one of the first to be right there because some of the other neighbors saw it, and then they ran towards the shoreline to go retrieve the guy. Once he got back to the shoreline, we helped him, lift him back to the pool deck to the house where they were staying, and immediately I contacted the police. I also contacted the clinic, and I told them we needed an ambulance immediately. I didn't feel like there was any ambulance driver at the clinic based on how she was responding. She told me to hold on. I guess this is the nurse. I called her periodically because obviously the family was in a panic. Curling described the state the victim was in as saying despite the copious blood loss, the man never lost consciousness. So now one of his clients, a nurse, tried to tend to the injured victim as they waited, but could only do so much without supplies. And when back with the clinic, they advised the small rescue group to bring the victim down. They advised a small rescue group to bring the victim down to the clinic themselves. The group then transferred the victim onto the back of a truck while he was strapped on a pool chair. Curling expressed disappointment in the state of emergency services on Exuma, saying, quote, I feel like we currently are sitting ducks because that proved to me that it could be anybody. We are definitely not prepared, even after all these years. We still don't have some type of 24-hour medical emergency team. We still have to wait on people to go leave their house, go to the clinic, pick up an ambulance, then go to the scene. That's unacceptable in 2025. The Guardian reached out to Darville in response to concerns from residents. He says he was advised that the decision not to use the ambulance was based on urgency. Quote, waiting for an ambulance to drive to that site would have taken longer, so the decision was made for them to bring the individual directly to the clinic. But that wasn't what was said immediately, right? That wasn't the initial response. That was after some time, it seems. Right? Darville saying, quote, given the circumstances, it was faster, more efficient to ask someone already near to the patient to bring the patient directly to the clinic. The patient arrived within 35 minutes. That's a long time. Darville noted that the ambulance is stationed at the clinic in Georgetown and that the EMT who drives it lives, quote, a bit away. The driver needed to leave his home, drive to the clinic, then drive to the scene of the accident, according to Darville. So they opted to get the person straight into the clinic. Once the patient arrived, within 35 minutes, the emergency team of doctors and nurses and support staff were ready to receive the patient. His family expressed gratitude for the swift response and care. Well, that's what Darville says. Okay. Quote, it's important to emphasize that the situation was not about failure of service, nor was it about the quality of services provided. Unfortunately, it seems to be politicized. That's what's happening with it. Really? Politicized? Okay.
That's everybody go to it.
That's the response to if you criticize as politics, is politicizing it. If you question anything, you're politicizing it. Okay. Darville said that perhaps there needs to be consideration for having ambulances placed at strategic locations, quote, so that we can reduce the arrival time. Wait now. You tried to tell us that no one has ever considered that before? Yeah? Boy. But again, if the people live a bit away, if you have the ambulances in strategic locations, it's not going to make much of a difference. And if it's just a driver coming for you to slap you in the back, I guess that also will not make much of a difference. But hey, what do I know? Darville says, quote, this was not mismanaged care. Well, the photographer Curling said residents are outraged and they feel there's been little to no in recent years on the island. He described the clinic as understaffed, underutilized, and under-equipped. Saying, quote, that was something that the Member of Parliament championed on. Now we're getting into the politicization. Definitely here. Okay. He's referring to Exuma Ragged Island MP Chester Cooper, saying, quote, he said that if he was reelected and the government came into power, he would be able to fix that particular issue within 1 year. Now going on 4 years, we're still faced with the same issues. Okay. Oh, and now we're getting into candidate speaking. So, yep, well, yes, that certainly was politicized by some people. But here we go. Anyway, let's get your reaction to this, folks. This is not new. This happens, I feel, every week? Somewhere in the Bahamas, somebody is waiting for an ambulance and being told there is no ambulance or you better bring them in yourself. New Providence even. We got a big problem. We know this. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Any equipment, manpower, you name it. You name it. So the headline on this story, which is unusual, but anyway, Exuma deserves better. That's the headline. Ugh. But the whole country does. The whole country does. Right? Let's talk. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Cousin Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Chester. Chester, have you fed the monkeys yet?
I did not. They didn't feed me.
Listen, Dwight, I wanted to correct that. Yeah, this is Nana Boy, GNN. I wanted to correct that statement, but you did. Not Exuma. The entire country deserves.
I mean, again, that was the headline in the paper, and I just said the whole country deserves better.
The whole country deserves better, Dwight. Mm-hmm. Then you got to pick up used car lights on the runway to airlift. You ain't got no ambulance. When you ain't no ambulance, you ain't got no fire engine. When you ain't no fire engine, we ain't got no police car. What else, Dwight? What else? And I don't know what kind of statement these is Dr. Dowell been making lately, which don't make no sense. From what I know from first aid and over the years, if a patient may be a critical patient, what they tell you to do, do not move the patient. Now, the time is to take the ambulance. I guess that's his excuse of saying the ambulance ain't waking or they ain't got none. Because if the ambulance drivers that go to the scene, they could have professionally stabilized our patient and do a lot of things to the patient that the regular citizens cannot do. Why he take that risk or say that for them people who ain't scared that patient, they possibly could have lost that patient or on the way. What kind of nonsense is this Dr. Doolittle saying, man? These fellas just don't fact check and check themselves before they come to the media. He made no sense, right? Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know if he made no sense. It makes sense. We don't like what he said. You don't like the answers, right? You don't like the excuses. But this is a reality all over the place, all over the country. It's worse on some other islands. The problem is that this has been the reality for so long, and many have said they're going to fix it. But here we are still in the same place we were maybe 10 years ago. And that's a challenge. A caller would say you on it. Good morning. You're on the air live. Let's take that one. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to both of you.
Hi, good morning.
Similar experience snorkeling on Goodman's Bay, you know. But if you're used to snorkeling, when your head is under the water, you can hear the engine. That should prompt you to at least look up. I can't see you being that engaged in snorkeling. But you may be pretty deep in the water anyway. But then if you're deep enough, you won't get hit. And I had to dodge one jet ski one time, so I know. But here's a solution. Maybe we can have the ambulance driver living right where the ambulance is. you can't have him take it home, but at least relocate his residence and let him stay close to the ambulance. That would make the time shorter when you're going to reach the scene. Would that help?
Well, again, if there's not going to be anybody at the place when he gets there, that's not going to help much at all either. But that's an idea. It certainly is something.
Well,
So he might as well take it home then.
Well, no. You don't know where he lives. I don't know how safe it might be where he lives, but I know it's probably safer where it's located.
Well, you think he want to live near a clinic?
If I'm the driver, and that's my vocation, that's my concern, that's my care, that should be something I'd want to spring into action, like, not when I get a call, I have to make coffee first and so forth. I should be alert and ready. That's my job, man.
Well,
I'm waiting for the call. All right.
Some people have time off, desperately needed time off. But I hear you. It's something to be considered, I'm sure. Then you got to find housing for that person and deal with all that stuff. But oh well. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Good morning, caller. You're on the air live. No, 323-325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're live on the air. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Morning, Chester. Good morning, my Bahamas. It looks as if I am the only person who does celebrate people, but I love you all because I know they need politicians. And some of them, right, they know they're getting $28,000 a year. They know how much money they're getting. And when they get in power, I can't live up that. People, why this country ain't getting no better until we put people in Bahamas who in our parliament, who love the Bahamas, who love the Bimini people. Because these politicians, they don't love us, man. See, I keep telling you, but you all don't listen. Dwight, how long are you saying, let's get ambulance? My good friend, Mr. Christie, when the Chinese asked him what he wanted, I thought he's going to ask for more boat and clean and give the drugs and all these illegal people coming in the country. He asked for war, tank and tear gas and handcuff the killer payments. They shoot up a bullet on us. You know what I mean? The Bahamas is one of the richest country in this part of the world behind Canada and America. And look at how after everywhere you go, people begging. Come on, man, people can't afford a house. People can't afford land. And these bunch of jokers in our parliament think it's a game. Hey, the world laughing at us, They say, the world sit down and argue judiciary. I might say, I told them our judges, but you all go up. So lawyers, everybody, some money can be. It's why we need to get these people out of our country, man. Expel them out of our country and put people in country who love us, babies, man. Thanks, man. Take my call.
Okay. Well, I mean, sure. Again, this is. I don't think that has anything to do with love or anything. It's just resources, a challenge when it comes to resources, and knowing how to do this, manage this all in an archipelago. Right? It is not going to be easy. Are we managing the limited resources we have in the most efficient way? We won't all agree on that, and I think we could make a case that we're not. But I don't think it's about not loving the people. But yeah, this is a challenge. You've got countries spread out over a whole lot of islands, and people in little tiny there that will need medical attention, and but you live miles from the clinic, and the ambulance is down there, and the driver lives miles from there too, and that is going to be a problem. It's going to be hard. Can you have 20 ambulances on an island like that? That might not be practical, or even 10, right? So we have to figure out a better way to deal with this. Asking the people immediately, if they were asked to put the guy in the truck and drive him in, you might not have heard any complaints, but they were told to wait a bit to see if there could be. It seems like from what these folks are saying, right? And that is, I think, where people are getting angry. Let's see what you say, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you doing, Dwight?
Doing well.
I first of all want to give glory, honor, and praise to our Lord Savior Jesus Christ. And I want to thank you for this show. But I want to say that the problem in Exuma is because what we have in this country is politicians who have chose to deal with family, friends, and lovers and we've gone back and rehired them. We know about Brave Davis and his group, but we gone back and rehired them. Now, my thing is that if we want better, we need to hire better. Mr. Michael Pintard has never been the lead of this country.
Oh, boy. Okay, so you're going to try to do a commercial here. All right, so who is this? This is Dr. Sands? Was it? That sound like him to you, Chester?
Only slightly at the end there.
I don't know. Okay. I mean, but okay. It's gonna be an interesting. When is the election? We really need a fixed date because some of us need. Right, it clearly energizes some people, but for the rest of us, you die a little every day, right? So we need to know. We need to know because this is gonna go on for a long. What if it isn't this year? Good Lord. Can you make it? Good morning, caller. You're on the air. How did that happen? How do you get to that? Hi. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good. Just how you're on. When you announce to the world that the Bahamas is open for business and you got billions of dollars of investment on the ground on the island and you're giving away crown land and the resources for these investments, the capacity. Remember when the Honorable Perry Christie was talking about the anchor projects around the country, which is what was one of the biggest concerns, was resources for like ambulances and hospitals and to fit that capacity of having an anchor project on every family island. That's why places like the Emerald Bay and Exuma had issues, because you put in those big anchor projects and you're creating capacity and you have a strain on your local resources. Now, we know Exuma is a Long Island and ambulances and all that stuff. We understand that, but you're talking about the population density and where it's confined on that island. And, Georgetown and those areas will have the majority of people and the homes where people are staying. So it's most likely you probably will have bigger incidents in those particular areas, So, sometimes you have to be able to plan. That's where town planning and city planning and these things come into play when you go out and bring these big developments in your country.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I don't know if you were around. That's why you should have been around. When Atlantis was expanding, who built that fire station on Paradise Island? And they did.
Yeah.
You have to go for these big resorts to put back critical infrastructure. When you're giving away and when you're saying, hey, you're bringing this big resort, we need emergency. These need to be a part of the negotiating the deals.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're bringing more people on the island to work. Imagine if you have 400 people coming onto that island as employees. Same thing happening now at Celebration Key Down in Freeport. Now you got people will be going down there to work. That place is almost an hour drive from the city. So all of these things have to be, we have to think.
Yeah.
And the guy that got hurt to be put on the truck. Let's go back years ago when we had that boat accident when they had to put all those people on the truck. I'm down in Barry. Same thing, and we haven't learned from that. We haven't learned from that, Dwight. So you have to be able to strategize and create solutions to these problems. They had a fire in Exuma last night. You know what happened? They contained the fire. You know why? Free fire trucks are now on Exuma. If that was a few weeks ago before those stalls burned down at the fish fry, they wouldn't have no fire trucks. Because you had 2 citizen donated fire trucks and then the MP got a fire truck, so they got free. But they was able to fight that particular fire.
Yeah.
So that's what, we need critical infrastructure, man.
Okay. Great points there. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. All right. We got a lot of text messages coming in. We'll get to those in a bit, but let's take some more calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there?
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning. How you doing, Dwight?
Doing well.
All right, good morning, Chester. How you doing?
He's good.
Okay. Welcome back. Chester, welcome back. Good morning to the nation. Right, this whole matter is, and the last caller touched on some of the points, right? But going back to what one of the callers stated, and granted, we all know that the circumstances overall are not the best, right? And granted, we know the realities as in urban planning and development, right? That is necessary throughout the Family Islands. And granted, we know that if we're going to continue to facilitate tourism as the number one industry, then it ought to be completely outfitted with the resources everywhere we have those tourism plans in order to operate successfully as a cohesive unit, right? And granted, we understand all of the issues with resources and funding in small island developing nations, etc. I believe that in the circumstance, the nurse made the best call to conserve life and health, right? Granted all of the challenges. I think that after the nurse did an assessment of health and time and circumstance, after he would have clearly communicated with whoever the attending persons were ground at the scene, I think the nurse made the right call, right?
And which nurse? Which nurse are you talking about? The nurse on the phone?
The nurse that you spoke about in the report.
No, it was two nurses. It was somebody who...
No. There was the attending nurse, and there was also a nurse
somebody who was there who happened to be a nurse.
Right. There was also a nurse who happened to be on the scene. That's not who I was speaking to. I'm speaking about the attending nurse who had the responsibility at the facility on the island, who Dr. Dowell explained in his interview, made the call for the injured person to be brought in privately, right?
Yeah, only after they realized that there was no way an ambulance would get there.
Right. And so the nurse made the call to conserve health, right? And possibly life, based on the circumstances. And I imagine based on communicating with her colleague nurse or his colleague nurse who was on the scene, as you explained, right? And so I wanted to speak to that point because one of your previous callers stated that the decision was irresponsible. I don't agree with that at all. I agree that the circumstances are bad and the optics looks even worse, right? And similar to what the last caller said, we should have a completely outfitted plant. However, why is there a boat with engines running after hours within the limits, the space limits of where people are freestyle swimming? That's a concern. That is a serious concern, and that calls for responsibility, and it also points to irresponsibility on behalf of the operator.
Yeah, well, that's a totally different story and a totally different
but that's
show.
the part. No. Dwight,
I mean, that happens. We have those concerns all over the country. Any beach in Nassau, you run risk of some jet ski running you over.
Understand my point, Dwight, right? Unless we move from operating from sun up to sundown to a 24-hour plant, it's also going to take responsibility.
Okay, but Anton, you're changing the subject here now. You could easily be doing your work in your yard and you staple yourself with a nail gun or something. So things happen, whether you're trying to be responsible or not. So yes, that's a different show. That's a whole different thing. We have to deal with that, no doubt. But yeah, accidents don't happen on a schedule. Let's take this call. Good morning, you're on the air. Are you there? No. Good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, Dwight. Good morning to you.
You're not going to make this a commercial now, right?
Good morning to Chester.
You promise? You're not going to make this a commercial?
Oh, no. Everybody knows where I stand and who's competent enough to do what we need to have done.
Okay.
Okay.
So what happened?
Yeah, one of the things we have to get over is the JJ's quote, is the scarcity and the begging mindset. And, if we have a desire for what we need, we must first come across this point. You cannot manage what you cannot measure, and you cannot measure what you refuse to acknowledge. And that essentially is what we have done. We have not taken the time from putting the person house to house, street to street, community to community, constituency to constituency, island to island, and the country as a whole to the needs now or well into the future and possess a plan of how it is. First, you'd have to provide the data or the research information of the needs analysis of each of those. And then you would have to then create strategies on developing them going well into the future. The question we have to ask ourselves, what is it worth? If you read the article says the person called the clinic, but help never came. It wasn't until he called the clinic back. He called the police.
Yeah.
Then it wasn't until he called the clinic back that they said, hey, can you bring him here to us?
Yeah.
So, and that's the proper context. But the problem is that we are buying buckets and we have not taken the opportunity to examine the roof that has to be done or came up with a comprehensive strategy on our needs. If we spend time patching as opposed to following a development strategy, we always will be buying quickly, running to the store for in the middle of cooking, just, I forgot the onions, I forgot the green peppers, and we continuously doing that. It's the strategy, a national development strategy that is needed. But before you can come up with that, you must first have a need analysis of the entire country, which we have not done. And so we will continuously, Dwight, I think years ago, we talk about the health system being overburdened. We talk about the education challenge, the housing insecurity, the economic crisis, the food crisis, the security crisis, and all of these things. The question is, has any of them been publicly say, this is what we recognize them to be, this is our strategies on achieving them, and this is what it's going to cost us in the short, medium, and long term.
Absolutely.
If you look also on the front page,
Really
we see an extra $400 million that can be accounted for. Is that for the ambulances, the fire police station? And, where the guy spoke about the people living in the house. If you have a viable fire station, a day on, a day on, 2 days off, they would be in the facility to respond to wherever they have to go.
Yeah.
But to determine what is the need on New Providence, Grand Bahama, and these other places, I would love to see a paper that we could look at the needs and then collectively we could all decide what is it that we need to do.
Thanks a lot. I think the public are going to have to do that. We're going to have to do that. We can't wait on the government to do that or government officials, politicians to do it. They'll never do it. Let's work together on that. We got to go to the break and then the news. We'll pick this up. We got a whole lot of text messages. We'll pick that up on the other side. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
I don't wanna see no dark. I need attendance from my nurse around the clock. 'Cause there's no prescription for me. She's the one, the only remedy. Night nurse, only you alone can quench this your thirst.
Got your first look at traffic brought to you by RBC. With RBC, reaching your goals happens here. In your real-time traffic, we are seeing some slow-moving traffic on Milo Butler Highway as you approach Harold Pond, especially as you get closer to the roundabout with Tawny-Williams-Darling Highway. Traffic backed up a bit along Tawny-Williams-Darling Highway at this hour as well, westbound to that roundabout. On Carmichael Road, we're seeing some slow-moving westbound traffic to Coral Harbor Road. And then pockets along Prince Charles Drive at the major intersections. Wolf Road as well, especially west of Mackey Street, some slow-moving westbound traffic. That's what we're seeing right now. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here. Time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Colina. We've got a residual mid to upper level troughing and ample tropical moisture across the northern Bahamas. That's going to continue to support periods of unsettled weather across that area today. Most of the country, though, will be impacted by a thin plume of Saharan dust and building high pressure that's going to maintain drier and more stable conditions today through tonight. High pressure is going to continue to build across the island, supporting relatively drier conditions, while troughing lingers just north of the islands. By the end of the work week, though, Shower and thunderstorm chances will increase as deep tropical moisture will move into the area ahead of a descending frontal boundary and associated troughing. So for today, partly cloudy to cloudy conditions, hazy, partly cloudy tonight for most areas, a 30 to 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms for the northern islands. A closer look at the tropics after the 8 o'clock news. This weather check brought to you by Kalina. Kalina's Customer Appreciation Day, Saturday, July 5th at 308 East Bay Street. Get free health screenings, attend educational sessions, and sign up for the portal. All happening Saturday, 308 East Bay Street. Come join the fun and let Kalina help you thrive.
Tell her try your best just to make it quick. Come and tend to the sick.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with Chester Robards. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking with St. George's Anglican Church about the thrill of the grill and raffle coming up in a few days. And later in business, we are talking with CRIF Bahamas. That's the credit bureau about their work and what you need to do, what you need to know about your credit score. All of that coming up this morning.
We both going to get scolded by the St. George's people.
I don't know what you're talking about. And they would never do that. Maybe you. But we'll see. We'll see. Want to remind you that Love on a Two-Way Street is back for one final encore Friday, July 11th, 2025, this year, of course, at 8 p.m. at St. John's College Auditorium, Stapleton Gardens. For the emotional roller coaster that stole the hearts of audiences across Nassau, tickets $50. And the box offices are at Doc's Pharmacy and 17 Shop. Call them 802-802-0602 to reserve your tickets today. Love on a Two-Way Street, one street, two hearts, a lifetime of choices. Again, encore, Friday, July 11th at St. John's Auditorium. Okay, so we continue our discussion about what's in the news, talking about this incident in Exuma. Tourist injured off Exuma, in waters off Exuma, Monday after being hit by a boat. And that's bad enough. But what happened afterward, folks at the scene calling for an ambulance and being told to wait, and then eventually just bring him on the back of a truck. Or get him here however you can.
On what looks like a lawn chair?
That is exactly what it was. That's what the witnesses said. They put him on a lawn chair near the pool while they waited, and someone who was a nurse at the scene tried to do what she could with no resources. And they just picked him up on the lawn chair, the pool chair.
I guess it's a suitable-ish stretcher.
Floor, I guess, and put him in the back of a truck and drove him to the clinic.
Wow.
So we're getting a reaction to it, and you can call in, but we do have a whole lot of text messages to get to. Callers will get to you in just a bit. Let me read these messages. You can text us to 422-4796. This person says here, Dwight, as it relates to the guns and ammunition bust that took place on Monday. What? Why are we talking about this? Okay. Why hasn't there been info given on who the appliances were for? It leads me to believe that this wasn't necessarily the first time. And with all the issues we're having with illegal weapons, more info should be given, and that person should be exposed and punished severely. Why isn't the press demanding it? If you keep saying these things about the press demanding, the press, that's all the press does. Will the press get answers? Just like how you don't get answers, that's often how it is. But we've been asking these questions as well. What type of vehicle was it? Maybe it had the name of a company on it, right? Where did the appliances come from? Who were they from? Where did they come from? All those things. It would be good to know. These questions, they tell you that, that will jeopardize the investigation if they tell you this stuff.
Humans are strange creatures.
Very, very, very. This person says here, this is a note. This is not. This is not, they're trying to say.
Oh.
This is not a real country we're living in. Greed, corruption, selfishness, ungodly, and the rest. Some off you worship these politicians and so-called pastors. Now you see why people take the law into their own. Okay. And then where does that get you when you do that?
Yeah. You
Get
in
you
trouble,
anywhere?
You in trouble too?
Yeah. If your job is to drive an ambulance in an emergency situation, shouldn't you actually be around the ambulance in case of emergency? Not when you're off. People do have the right to have time off.
Then there should be.
Right. Why is there only one?
At least.
Why is there only one driver? That is the question, right? Why is there only one?
And but also, like, if maybe his job is just in case of emergencies.
You mean what? Not a part time? He's just
yeah.
a hey, call me.
Right.
If there's anything.
Yeah.
But I do live 20 miles away.
But no, and that's why I said maybe he should keep the ambulance.
This texture says here, I have a solution. Use the money from the surplus to put in the infrastructure. Okay. Again, this is a future possible, maybe surplus. We don't know if it is going to happen yet. And at the rate things are going. The simple solution is don't get in an accident. Don't get shot. Don't get sick. Don't die.
I mean, you could die. That's fine.
But yeah, you won't need
Yeah,
anything.
you need anything. Right.
Now we didn't think of that, texture. Thank you for telling us about that one. Why hasn't the human race figured that out yet?
Right.
This person says here, the clinic should be operational 24 hours, implement a shift system throughout the Bahamas. Again, why did anyone think of that? That sounds great, but we don't have the manpower. We don't have the infrastructure for it. But that would be fantastic. I'm sure that's what everybody wants. Every minister of health has always wanted that.
Yeah.
And the incident in Exuma only could have been dealt with properly through proper staffing. There is an ambulance, but it is at the clinic. The driver would have had to pass the incident, go to the clinic, pick up the ambulance, then return to the scene. If the drivers take the ambulance home, then he would still have to go and pick up the professionals to ride with him. Well, I don't know. Did anyone mention that? I don't even know. It just sounds like bring him here, we'll deal with him when you get here. I don't know if that's how it works on these islands.
But they made it sound like the ambulance driver might also be the tech. Or he should be also a tech.
How? What are you supposed
to
to
do?
do?
Huh?
What? How? What? I mean, yes, maybe, but while you're driving, what's going to happen?
I mean, you would have to, with limited resources, you would have to be the one to stabilize the person, put him in the back, and still drive. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, if it's just one person, he needs some training
Or
to do
ask
stuff.
somebody at the scene, can you drive fast? Okay, drive the ambulance while I deal with him in the back. Wow.
Or, again, you need two people on,
Mm-hmm.
two people off,
Yeah.
and just keep switching them up. Or three, given.
My goodness. This person says, did you hang up on Dr. Sants? I didn't know it was him, but in any event, I don't think that's the type of conversation we need to be having now about
Was it him?
I don't know. I'll ask him. But, I mean, hey, just because you have a big position doesn't mean you can't get hung up on Morning Blend. Right?
Sure.
We're an equal opportunity offender here.
Yes.
Anyone
could get it.
Try it. Let's see. Anyway, is the ambulance driver an EMT? Yeah. If it's just a driver, as a former healthcare professional, anyone, and take the nurse with them to administer the emergencies in the field. Part of a nurse's training and requires you to maintain licensing. And the requirement to maintain licensing includes ride-alongs in an ambulance. Just my suggestion for a solution.
So, yeah, that's the question. Is he also an EMT?
Right. Yeah. We love doing what America does. How about following them with a working fire service and ambulance medevac located at every police station? And money should be no object because the government has proven that they find the resources when they desire to do so. Is there every island, especially the longer islands, like Long Island, Eleuthera, Abaco, Acklands, should have three, one central, one at each end. Just think about that. We are never put first as a people or nation? Well, I guarantee you the resource thing will be an issue.
You need army level and support on those islands.
Yeah, it's going to be challenging. It sounds great. We all want it. That would be perfect. But
And even on those longer islands, south, central, and north, ain't
you might
even
need
enough.
more than 3.
Yeah. You're still too far away from the people between those spots.
Indeed. This person says 35 minutes would have been a death sentence for someone experiencing another type of emergency, like respiratory or cardiac problems. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so.
Oh, yeah.
It's a long time. A few weeks ago, I mentioned an ISO standard that suggested a ratio of fire stations to square miles or population size. Fire stations are usually equipped with both firefighting and medical support devices and personnel. The Minister of National Security, who was on the show recently, responded something to the effect of, I don't know where they got that from, and that is the problem. The people put forward by these parties to create sensible policies for good governance have no idea of the systems, global standards, or practices. When someone goes wrong, it's always someone else's fault when something goes wrong. But we are busy building a new parliament. An MP stands up and says, here's my recommendation for my community, not one. Well, I don't know if that's true. I'm sure someone does. You might not hear it all the time. They do it in the House, especially when they're a backbencher or in the opposition. And I think, he said it all the time, Monroe, that he might not be the expert, and they require the folks who are the experts to say these things. Are they getting that information? I don't know. And so some folks feel they shouldn't say to the minister that, we're doing this wrong. Here's a suggestion.
Who shouldn't say it to him?
What? I'm saying some folks probably feel they shouldn't. Some are hoping for
it.
This place is so politicized, as Dr. Darville says. I'm sure plenty are hoping the minister fails in their ministry. And others feel intimidated, and others say, well, there are all manner of reasons why they might not be getting some of these suggestions, and maybe they are, and they just don't know how to implement it. I don't know.
Wait, I just read that headline. Sorry. Expected.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
You never know until you know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's take these calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning. How you doing, Chester?
Good. How are you doing?
Chester. How are you doing, sir?
We're both doing well. Too. Both of us are here, and we're both doing well.
Chester and Dwight. Yeah. Okay, listen, Dwight. My question is, how do you rate the Minister of Health?
In terms of what?
And I say this because I've been in and out of the hospital several times within the last year. And if you see the conditions of the bathrooms and certain things, poor. Number two is I live in Tall Pines, where the Minister of Health is the representative, right? Hello?
We're listening to you.
Yeah. And what I find grievous is that we have a park in Jubilee Gardens. And for 4 years, nothing is being done to that park. I think it's now being done. I rate him as Dr. Doolittle. Tall Pines will not accept Dr. Darville again.
All right. So are you trying to say that the bathrooms in the hospital were better before he became the minister? Is that what you're saying? Because I think
absolutely before.
Oh, really? Okay.
Absolutely. I have evidence and pictures. I took videos.
Oh my!
I couldn't believe it. You know what it is to be sick in the hospital and then you go into a bathroom where one person is using it, the other John can't work because it's broken, and we have maintenance people. And I'm talking about I've had to go in and out of the hospital for several months dealing with a pressure issue. Thank God for his healing. But I'm here to tell you that is a poor condition for somebody who is sick. For people who are sick, I thank God for healing me. That is poor condition. And I just want to say that because I rate him as Dr. Doolittle in this country. He's done very little Princess Margaret Hospital, and he's done very little in Tall Pines. We don't want him in Tall Pines anymore. Thank you.
Oh, boy. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we probably would want to see your videos on whether the hospital was ever in a position like what you're saying. I don't know. We've been hearing about this and seeing it with our own eyes for many years. But I hear you. Well,
and hey, I mean, there are people who take care of the hospital from day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Are they doing little too?
I mean, yeah. Are you expecting him to go and fix the
I'm sure
the
he's
bathroom?
not going to fix the bathroom.
And then the
And-
park
and-
that falls under a different department as well. And I know he's the MP, but
And the politicians who get elected make it sound like they can't get these civil
See,
servants
that's
to do anything.
Well, that's the problem there, right? But okay, well, it's a lot of blame to go around. It's not often just one person. It's a whole heck of a lot of people, and some aren't politicians. Some are.
Some are your aunties and your uncles and your
Oh
aunties
boy, and yous.
and your
Some of them are
cousins.
yous.
And you, yeah, absolutely.
Yous. Anyway,
yous might be part of the problem.
Yous a big part, but I hear you. We got lots of issues. Wow. This person says the medical treatment on these islands is non-existing. That's why no one can afford to retire on these islands. Well, certain people can afford to retire on these islands. There are no medical services. Well, the challenges. Absolutely. On North Andros, the ambulance driver goes on vacation and keeps the keys.
Stop, man. No, that ain't true.
Over the Christmas holiday, my cousin needed to go to Nassau on an emergency flight. The ambulance driver was in Nassau.
With the keys.
With the keys.
Man, stop, man. There's only one, bro?
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening.
And also, is he an EMT?
I mean, how? Anyway, there's all these wacky people in Hondas speeding up around the place. Why don't y'all offer them contracts to go move the islands
What they
to
need
drive
to do,
ambulances?
What they need to do is put a nice big paycheck in front of somebody, an annual paycheck, and said, look, this place needs health services. We can park you here for 2 years, contract you for 2 years, and find somebody else for 2 years. And make it worth your while.
This is who you talking about? An ambulance driver?
Yeah, ambulance who's also some kind of medical person.
Got to train them, yeah.
Well, you got to pay them too.
Yeah.
Because they likely ain't coming from that community.
This texter says, Dwight, are we being punished? Why are the police holding roadblocks in front of people's personal business establishments? They are hurting the business owners and tax-paying citizens. For what? How is this fighting crime? Criminals usually roll different than civilians.
They got to use your parking lot to give tickets. What happened?
I mean, how is it hurting your business? Because the criminals,
turning around, they're not coming anymore.
They don't want to come there since the police are. That's what you mean? Or
oh boy,
what do we? I don't understand. Or the just making okay. Well, anyway, I'm disappointed, is a text, that there were several mini hospitals built several years ago, and today they are not equipped with basic equipment. It's so sad that we are settling for mediocre service, especially in healthcare. This is an area that needs methodical investigation and public exposure.
And money.
Mm-hmm. Another text, it's clear that the government is comfortable with the current state of the healthcare system. I don't think that's fair to say. I don't think it is. They've got a lot of issue, manpower issue. They keep saying it. A lot of other countries are luring professionals away with the ability to pay better, and that is definitely hurting. Yeah. We've got lots of equipment. We'll keep watching and saying, but they're spending money over there for this and that and that. Why not put it into this?
You know, Integra gave some stuff to the clinic in Black Point, right?
This is Exuma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look around at what they gave, you can ask yourself after that, what did you have? Can't imagine what you didn't. They gave them air conditioning systems.
Mm-hmm.
What did you have before? And the actual clinic is falling apart. They're actually in a house that I think they're renting.
Oh, the clinic's in a house?
That they turned into a clinic.
Oh, my God.
Or some kind of structure. It looks like it was a house.
One final call on this. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Dwight, good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning.
And also to your co-host. I want to be one of those persons who continue to commend you for the continued discourse and dialogue that you facilitate on very key and important issues. And I think that the extent to which you impact the direction of issues and things in this country is yet to be measured. Having said that, those of us who have the opportunity to contribute, I think we also have the obligation and responsibility to curate in our rendition, because there are people sometimes who will take away from what we say the accuracy or inaccuracy and repeat it. I said that because earlier, notwithstanding some of the key points that Critical Thinker made, he referenced the absence of a national development plan in the Bahamas. And it was responded to that is something that we should ourselves work on. I want to respond to that by saying there is a 2040 national vision that was and is being developed, I should say, by the University or College of the Bahamas as it was started in conjunction with the Inter-American Development Bank. And lots of the key points in this very critical issue that was made this morning, there is space and room for that, or these points and ideas to be entered into the vision, because there is room for citizens to submit their ideas, call the National Development Plan, ask questions, look at the document, and make critical assessment, et cetera, et cetera. So I wanted to put that out there, that there is a national development plan that is in play, and there is opportunity for us as citizens to contribute to that. I just wanted to make that point. Thank you for taking my call.
Okay.
Vision 2040 so old it got cataracts.
Some of the older one, that one. Well, hey, we invite that team to come on and tell us more about it, and whether there is buy-in from everybody who is considering running.
It's fine.
And
it's just not been adopted.
You're talking about there's a new group.
Oh, the new group.
working
Oh,
on it,
yeah.
Right. But what's going to happen with it?
Exactly.
And they certainly aren't promoting it the way the previous one was promoted. What's supposed to happen?
Yeah.
Will everyone be on board with this? Is it just talk? And no. But we're open to discussing it more.
It's so, I don't know how people get up in the morning to do something like that when the past shows them that these people often just let your work die on the shelf.
It's very, very tough. So either you're new, very young, or just immune to BS. But hey, we must remain optimistic. We're going to be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
My night nurse. Oh gosh. Oh, the pain is getting worse.
Get ready to catch the thrill and win with Shell. Fuel up with $20 or more and unlock your shot at unforgettable prizes.
We're talking regatta trips to Exuma and Harbor Island.
Free fuel, water park passes, and more. Just snap your receipt and WhatsApp it to us at 242-422-0271. The vibes are high, the prizes are hot, and the summer is yours to win with Shell. Only at participating Shell stations in Nassau. Now through August 22nd. Terms and conditions apply.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Sign up now
for the Michael Scootery Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic. This is our 30th year, and we are doing it big. Sign up for 13 and under Tropical Gyro, 16 and under the Myers Group, Sun Oil, 20 and under in the Church Group, We Buy You Sell, the Design Group in the Open Division, and for the first time, the Jamaica Bahamas Corporate Division. Competition begins July 14th to the 20th at the Hope Center. And then Kendall Isaacs. That's the Michael Scootery Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic, where we shoot hoops instead of guns.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we can sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys, and the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Print Masters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 32976.
With RBC, your idea of loving every journey happens now. Free up cash with affordable auto financing from RBC. With competitive rates and no bank fees, it's the perfect time to make every journey something special. Apply now to pre-qualify in 60 seconds at rbc.com/auto loan to shop with confidence. Conditions apply. RBC, your idea of loving your journey happens here.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the Know-How team at 396-1101.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on Guardian Talk Radio and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Your final look at weather brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Here's what's going on. In your weather for today, we are looking at partly cloudy to cloudy conditions, hazy as well, turning partly cloudy tonight for the northern and northwest Bahamas. For the extreme northern islands, we've got about a 30 to 40% chance of isolated showers, 10 to 20% chance for the rest of the northwest Bahamas. 10 to 20% chance of showers for the central and southeast islands as well, but it'll be a bit sunnier for those islands and still hazy today. We're looking at high temperatures around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make you feel like it's 102 Fahrenheit, 39 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 79, 80, maybe even 81 Fahrenheit, so about 26, 27 Celsius. In your extended outlook, and we are for Thursday looking at partly cloudy to cloudy and hazy conditions again, remaining partly cloudy at night for the northern Bahamas, but a mix of sun and clouds elsewhere in the country. Still about a 20 to 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms, 10 to 20% chance elsewhere. By Friday, partly cloudy to cloudy and cloudy to occasionally overcast in the northern and northwest Bahamas. By Saturday, partly sunny, turning fair at night for the central islands, but rain chances up again to about 30 to 50% chance for the northern islands. And by Sunday, mostly cloudy for the northern islands, mostly sunny and fair at night for the rest of the country. Still a 20 to 30% chance of showers for the northern islands. In the tropics, we're watching an area of low pressure that could develop near the southeast U.S. on the Atlantic or Gulf Coast by this weekend, along with the weakening frontal boundary. So environmental conditions are marginally conducive for some slow development, but a tropical or subtropical depression could form over the weekend and early next week while the system moves very little. Regardless of development, heavy rainfall is possible across portions of the southeast U.S. and especially the west central coast of Florida and portions of the northern Bahamas later in the week into the weekend. So formation chance over the next 7 days, medium at about 40%. That's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Are your walls giving mix up with your nearest Sherwin-Williams paint store? We've got vibrant colors delivered with professional vibes. Done listening will start glistening with Sherwin-Williams Paints. And a final check of traffic for the morning brought to you by RBC. With RBC, reaching your goals happens here. A reminder of the work going on Joe Farrington Road, the road improvement project, nightly, weeknights, after 9-10 p.m. into the early morning hours. If you can, avoid the area or follow the posted signs. In your real-time traffic, Milo Butler Highway, still heavy traffic for you northbound from just north of Fire Trail Road all the way up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. If you're heading northbound, seeing some slow-moving traffic on the Tawny Williams Darling Highway side as well, westbound to that round, north of that roundabout as you continue on to New Providence Highway. Wolf Road looking busy for you at major intersections, especially heading into Poinciana Drive. And we've got Prince Charles Drive, the major intersections westbound, some slow-moving traffic as well. And Blue Hill Road north of Soldier Road, East Street north of Soldier Road, both northbound, slow-moving traffic there also. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here.
Come true when it's on a platter for you. Then you pull back when I try to make plans more than 2 hours in advance. I slam the door, I ignore, I say no, 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 no more. I got you blocked, afterthought. I finally cut you off. I feel so much lighter, like a feather with you off my mind.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. And it's almost that time. The annual St. George's Anglican Church Thrill of the Grill and Grand Raffle coming up July 12th. Here to tell us all about this, we're very pleased to have with us Andrew Knowles and Neil Pinder Jr. Good morning. Welcome. Great to have you with us.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
All right. So
Just
what?
Bunch of good old St. George's boys in the studio.
I tell you.
Yes, two of us who are still current in St. George's. I can't speak for the other two.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Dang,
But we will work on that.
Yes, indeed. All right, so most of us know about this. Some might not. But the Thrill of the Grill. This has been going on for a long time now.
A very long time. Back in the day, as I was growing up, it used to be the St. George's Church Bazaar.
Right.
But we've since evolved to the Thrill of the Grill, which we've been doing for quite a number of years, like you said, and it's become now a staple in the community. It's a highly anticipated event, and it's our major fundraiser for the church. So the proceeds, this year is going towards some renovations that we're doing on our church parish hall, in addition to funding the various activities and initiatives that we do to benefit the wider community. And so the Thrill of the Grill is also a great opportunity for fellowship, right? Whereas you two haven't, I don't put your business out there, been to church in quite a while, it's an opportunity for you to come back home. It's like a big homecoming, right?
Yeah, there you go.
To come back home.
Now, I go to the Thrill of the Grill almost every year.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
But that is not the same as going to church, I guess.
Right.
Yes,
So
that's
right-
right.
It's absolutely not the same.
It's good to hear that you come to the Thrill of the Grill.
Thank you.
Chester, when last time you been?
So what's it about now?
But it's also an opportunity for friends and family to come back and connect and just strengthen those bonds, right? And hopefully, as a result, come back to church on Sunday as well. But anyway, we'll be offering our award-winning steaks and chicken, and they are literally award-winning because they're done by our ACM men who participate in grill out competitions and they have won various awards.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they're that good, and we don't have any complaints, and so our tickets very much go pretty good. We don't have any complaints there, but we do also have a number of other stalls as well. We have the Comforter stalls. Those are very popular, so much so that we have 2 stalls for comforters, right?
Oh, wow.
We have a seafood grill, all things curry. So you can get your curry chicken, curry mutton.
Curry pig feet.
Oh.
Say what now?
Oh, wow.
I've had it. It's really good.
Really?
Interesting.
Curry pig feet.
Andrew, have you tried it?
No.
This year. You're going to do it this year?
Do it with me.
Yeah.
Pig feet.
Oh, boy. Okay. All right.
Hamburgers and hot dogs.
Yes.
Hamburgers and hot dogs, desserts for all those, who have those sweet tooths. There's the homemade ice cream, lemonade. We have a refreshment center as well. Nice, it's going to be hot, so we have a lot of nice drinks out there for a little something for everyone. Then there's bingo, the always popular bingo, hoopla, kitty corner. So there's something for everyone. So it's a family-oriented event, and we just want everyone to come out and enjoy.
So this is going to be interesting. Yeah, I think you knew this was coming. So every year there's live entertainment, and there is a rush out.
Oh, boy.
And this is in the heart of the valley.
It is the Valley.
And so, of course, this is the home church, right?
Home
of the
church.
Valley
Exactly.
Boys.
That's good.
For which Valley Boys?
It's only it's the Valley Boys.
Nobody saw that coming, Dwight.
But no, this is a big question.
So the
what
Valley
will the
Boys
Valley
will be-
Boys do?
The Valley Boys will be there.
Which Valley Boys? All the Valley Boys?
Who told you there's more than one Valley Boy? There's only one boy.
So there will be the Junkanoo rush out.
So you got to come out to see.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's people from both who attend the church, right?
You are trying to get us to go down that corner.
Just
It's going to be the Valley Boys.
Yes,
At
the
end
Valley
of
Boys will
day.
be there.
all right.
The Valley Boys. So they're gonna do their rush out. That would be like more so in the evening time.
Evening time.
Once it gets cooler. But we also have the Soulful Groovers,
Right.
who are going to be
This year we've introduced live music, live band.
Okay.
Yes. It's going to be on the stage. Actually, the Montrose Avenue between Carew Street.
I do normally block off the street.
It will be
Correct.
blocked off.
Yeah.
And we would have a stage in that area for the live band.
Okay. So right opposite the church, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's
Big stuff.
And so the tickets for the grill out portion is $20. And then we also have to mention, of course, our grand raffle.
Right.
And this year our grand prize is $5,000 cash
Oh,
for the grand raffle. And so We have a number of prizes there, cash and
$5,000.
$5,000.
Okay. That's one person will win
$5,000.
That's our grand prize.
One ticket can get you $5,000.
How much are the tickets?
Well, the tickets are $5 each. You can purchase the book, Chester, the book for you, at $50, and you get a free ticket in there. So you get 11 tickets, actually.
That's only if you purchase the book.
The book, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we will have some volunteers or representatives from St. George's at Super Value locations, 3 of them, on top of the hill, Mackey Street, Winton, and Cable Beach. And they'll be out there from Thursday to Saturday selling our raffle books, as well as hopefully some stakeout and grill out tickets as well. Passing Super Value or they're shopping, feel free to stop on in and get your ticket.
I better avoid those food stores.
Oh,
go ahead.
Before I get beat up somewhere.
That's a deep guilt that
he's got some real issues. Pray for him. All right, so again, you say it's going to be the Winton store, top of the hill, Mackey Street,
and Cable Beach.
And Cable Beach. Okay.
I mean, y'all didn't bring any books for us?
I do. In the car. I do.
Yeah,
I do have
okay.
books in the car.
All right.
And raffle tickets. And grill out tickets as well.
Grill out tickets
just,
too, right?
Yeah. I'll be
Sounds
sure
good.
to give those to you. But people can also stop at the church, the office, to get those. Yeah, as well.
For everything, for the raffle
everything,
and
raffle,
for the grill
yeah,
out.
for
Okay.
the grill out
All right.
tickets as well.
So remind folks of the date and the time and what else they need to know about it.
It is once again on Saturday, July 12th. So that's next week, Saturday, just after Independence. We start at 12 p.m. on the church's grounds. The grill out portion will go until 5 p.m., but the fair will continue on until we are done.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Looking forward to it.
And where do people usually park?
So you park along the street, but DW Davis as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have security.
Yeah.
I'm going to drag Chester along this year.
I don't have to be dragged.
Okay. Good.
You'll be there.
I'm not convinced.
Wonderful.
We'll have to have a photo.
Right. All right, so this is exciting. St. George's Anglican Church Thrill of the Grill and Grand Raffle, Saturday, July 12th. You can get your tickets now and at the church or at Super Value locations. And then you can get everything at these supermarkets as well, the raffle and the grill.
And the grill out
Okay.
tickets, yes.
Hey,
Yes.
making
And that'll
it
be
easy.
from Thursday to Saturday.
Great stuff.
Right.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Good seeing you all. Again, I think it's the first time we've ever had 4 St. George's
Four St.
folks
George's folks
in the studio.
I grew up in St. George's.
Good.
It was my home church.
We all did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Andrew Knowles, Neil Pinder Jr., thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure being here.
We're going to break for news and be back with business. We're talking about your credit score with the Credit Bureau, CRIF Bahamas. You don't want to miss it. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Sheila, girl, why are you in this car sweating? Miss Ann, my AC ain't working and Henry always promising to take it to Caribbean Gas. Really? I thought they only sell gas. No, girl. Take your car to Caribbean Gas on Glaston Road and someone will recharge your car AC for only $35. And it only takes about 10 minutes. They sell all kinds of refrigeration gases for your house, your boat, your car, and them big freezers. Man, call them 361-6007-9597. Or just go there. You don't need no appointment. Caribbean Gas for all your refrigeration needs.
At Cleveland Clinic, it's everything. So when your primary purpose is to care for the world, you'd start with your community until you're accessible anywhere. You make complexities your specialties and put compassion before anything else, all to redefine what's possible. For everyone, everywhere. For every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
As a healthcare professional, you dedicate your life to caring for others. But even with the best care, legal challenges can arise. Protect your practice and your peace of mind with medical malpractice insurance from Star General. At Star General, we've partnered with Lloyd's of London to bring you comprehensive professional liability insurance designed specifically for those consulting or practicing privately. Visit our website today so you can focus on what you do best, caring for your patients, while we take care of the rest. Star General, insurance made simple.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. Views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. And this morning we are talking about credit scores, the credit bureau. We're very pleased to have back with us from CRIF Bahamas, Marissa Nixon. Good morning once again. Thank you for being here.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
All right. So remind folks about how long CRIF Bahamas is in effect now.
Okay, so we've been established from 2020. Mm-hmm. Our office opened 2021, April 2021. So we've been functioning from April 2021. Mm-hmm. Credit reports started being issued November 2021. So yes, it's a part of you now accessing any type of credit from a financial institution, a money lender, a utility company, possibly even insurance companies, according to the type of facility that you are trying to obtain.
Yeah. Okay. So people can easily access their credit score, know what that is, and know what they're looking at.
Yes.
Explain to us how it works, how the score works, on what scale are we looking at, what type of information do you get from that?
Okay. So the score ranges from the low of 280s. So you're seeing from 280 and you're going straight up into the 500s.
Okay.
So a good score is 400 and about, I would say 30. Mm-hmm. You want to stay above that score range. We give both a alphabetical letter. Mm-hmm. So for the 430, you probably would be like a C. Mm. 450, 460, you'd be heading more so towards that B. Mm-hmm. And that's where you want to be. You want to be in the green light. Okay. So we actually range it on the credit report for you to see so you can have an idea of the range that you're in. We tell you if you're medium, high risk, low risk. It actually gives you the description of where you stand with your credit score.
Yeah. And so far, how many people, can you say, have had their credit score assessed or have had a letter grade? What are we looking at?
Well, I can say the amount recorded in the system. Mm-hmm. So right now, we're over 200,000 persons have already been recorded in the system or reported to us in regards to their credit facilities that they have at institutions.
Mm-hmm. And like the BGCSE, are we D grade or where are we? On average. On average. What are we looking at?
We haven't done an average grade, I would say, of the Bahamian population. Usually when we perform analysis, it's based on the age range of persons getting the most mortgages or an analysis. It's usually based on around the credit analysis itself. It's not based on where we range if it's low or not. However, we have done it. And I would say we have a lot of persons that still have debt. Debt is improving, though. I will say that. So debt management is improving. However, we still have a lot of persons who have debt because persons who would have had debt maybe 20 years ago may still think that they are not liable to that debt. But if the debt is still active, it was recorded to us and you are still liable. Actually, you're still liable unless you go to court, unless some type of injunction is not have to pay that creditor anymore. A lot of people think after the statute is passed, they don't have to worry about it anymore. But if you sign a promissory note with a bank, you want to ensure that you go and check with that bank, because upon your death, the bank can now make claims for their funds if you are not paying them, and if they have received judgment for you to pay them their debt.
Wow. Okay. So let's talk about how debt affects your credit score.
Yes.
And if you're paying on time, does that does that have any impact? And let's talk about all of that.
Okay, so let me move back a bit because I didn't answer one of your questions. So we do give one free credit report per year. So you can come to the credit bureau. We are located on East Bay Street. We give one free credit report per year. Otherwise, it's between $13 and $15. If you want the report right away, it's $15. If it's in 2 business days, it's $13. Okay. We require 2 forms of ID and a verification of address to pull a credit report for you. Otherwise, you can apply online with the same information. However, if you apply online, we need those documents to be notarized so that we can verify who you are. We also follow compliance laws and policies that are issued to us and protect consumers from with the Credit Act. So we want to make sure we are in compliance with it, and that's why we need those documents notarized when sent to us, because we need to ensure that we're sending this information to the correct person, and it was verified by a notary, a justice of the peace, so that we could give that information to you.
Okay.
Now back to your question,
Right.
speaking a little bit more about debt. Okay, so of course debt does impact your credit score. If you're paying your loans on time, that impacts your credit score in a good way.
Okay.
If you're not paying your loans on time, it of course impacts your credit score in a bad way. We don't, a lot of persons think sometimes, okay, if I have the funds, I'm going to prepay my loan, maybe in a lump sum. They're due monthly. So unless you're putting that on a settlement account that's pulling that money so that you don't have anything to worry about, that lump sum is not gonna cover your debt over the period that you paid it. So for example, if you have a loan and you pay $100 a month and you have some money and you say, I want to just pay $1,000 to it.
Right.
That money will be applied to your principal along with the $100 payment that was due that month, the additional $900. Next month, your payment is due again on that same date. There is confusion about payment of loans. There's a lot of confusion about the type of loan that someone may write or sign for. And I believe a lot of clarity needs to be brought and attention needs to be brought to that when speaking to loan officers. But I do want individuals to also take responsibility. A lot of persons go to the banks and they just want a loan now, and they don't ask questions. You have to take responsibility to know that loan officer number, just in case something happens and you need to delay or postpone loan payments so that it will not impact your credit. You need to be aware of the interest rates that you're signing for, the length of that loan. If you are not able to pay off that loan, what will occur? And a lot of people are not educating themselves on the matter. So a part of the credit bureau being established, we are also a part of the education. We also allow you to come in as a consumer if you need to ask questions, if you need to find out how you can raise your credit score. By appointment, we are willing to do that with you. We can sit with you and go through the information. Also, the loan officer should be going through this information with you also at the institution. If a loan officer is not willing to give you their telephone number the same way they are pushing you to give you a loan, I probably would not get that loan from that loan officer because you want to ensure that if anything happens, the same way that person might have been calling you, running behind you to sign for that loan, that you can also reach out to them and say, hey, I have an issue this month. What is it that I can do to postpone this loan, delay this loan? What can I do? I lost my job. What can I do to rewrite this loan? What can I do to have this loan delayed for a few months? Just so that I'm not in a bad position, because I do not want to mess up my credit. What do I need to do in order to move forward and have a good financial history?
Yeah.
And those things are important.
Oh, wow.
I think you said something important that maybe might have went over people's heads, but just understanding how you end up messing up your credit. You mentioned people think, oh, maybe if I miss 2 months and I drop $2,000 on this, it'll improve my credit at that point in time. But it's not about towards something. It's about your good behavior month to month or based on when the payment is due.
Yes.
That's really the bottom line, right?
Yes.
It's not about how much money you drop in.
That's one of the things. One of the things.
And so I guess the question is, you kind of mentioned it. How does one improve one's credit score if it's been messed up somehow? Tarnished somehow, yeah.
Okay. You want to ensure your credit mix doesn't have you also with the low credit score. You want to ensure that if you're signing for loans with persons, that you are sure about that person being responsible and have an understanding that if that person cannot be responsible, you then have to be responsible for them, because that loan will also impact your credit. A guarantor is not on a loan. A cosigner is not just a signatory on the loan. You are now responsible. If you sign for $20,000, that is your $20,000 too, even if it didn't come to you. So you want to pay your loans on time. Sure about the extension of credit that you have yourself in. You want to know your debt ratio. You want to make sure that your credit mix is good. And credit mix meaning if you have a lot of credit cards, you are high risk.
Okay.
A lot of persons don't know that. You may have wealthy persons with a lot of credit cards and don't think anything of it. Bank just sign over a credit card to them. Oh, we gave you a $100,000 credit card because you're qualified or whatever the case may be. A lot of credit cards actually put you in a bad credit mix. You're more high risk. So those loans which you are getting that may be without no requirements for the loan, those loans make you more high risk. In saying that, you want to ensure that you understand the details that are being discussed with you for any credit facility that you are signing for anything that you're going to the bank for. And I think it goes back to savings also. You have to understand money, just money in itself. I understand a part of us growing and the economy growing is a part of us attaining loans. People who have personal businesses, all of it is a part of attaining loans. But you have to have an understanding of your finances before you obtain these loans. And when you obtain these loans, understand the responsibility.
So you might have answered this already, Marissa Nixon, but so how closely are you watching debt repayment? If you're paying 90% of it each month, or you're paying a week late, how much of that is impacting your score and is being watched by the credit bureau?
Well, yes, that's a part of the history. If a bank tells us, so a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what a credit bureau is. So let me start off by saying a credit bureau is a repository. We store information. So that information is provided to us. And with the services we offer, we perform a technical analysis, which gives a score and a letter grade. So this is what a credit bureau does. In saying that, our company in itself, just so I could give a little bit, a lot of credibility to my company in Europe, we're in the top 3 credit bureaus in the world. We have credit bureaus in 50 different countries, but credit bureau is not the only service per se we sell. So we're a technology company that provides credit bureau services. The credit bureau services just happens to be our biggest platform because of how well we do in countries in providing this information. So we ensure that the information is secure. We ensure that your information is private. For example, I cannot even see your information. Even though I work for the credit bureau, you will have to sign a sheet of paper before I look at your information to give me permission to access your information for us to move forward.
Okay.
So that's how it works. I can't pull anyone's credit score randomly. And it's the same thing for any financial institution. Your credit score cannot be pulled randomly. By law, they are required to have your permission to access your information.
Okay.
And that's basically how it works.
Okay, fine. So there you go.
Yeah.
Chester?
Just so, okay. I don't know. I don't want to get off topic here, but so how does one...
Okay, so before you go on, so basically it could be affecting it, but we won't know until somebody pulls your files to see that, oh yeah, you paid late every month, but you did pay. You paid most of it, some of it. Nobody knows until...
Right. So It's in the system, but
Yeah.
until you go to access credit, no one is actually going to pull your credit score. Now, for a bank, you've had a loan with the bank and they pulled your credit score originally. Now, there are some institutions that also have the service to continue to monitor you as for the life of that loan, because by you signing that paper, you have now given them permission to verify whether you are paying your bills on time.
Oh.
So that is something that can be verified. It is something that can be consistently monitored for the life of the loan that you received. So for example, if you go to apply for a mortgage today and your mortgage is for 20 years, that institution can monitor you for 20 years. So they can verify your credit, verify if you're in good standing, see when you're going in bad standing. These are things that they can
But
see.
you would be notified that they're going to do that, or is that in
That
the
is a
fine
part.
print?
That is actually a part of what you are signing. You are signing to give them permission that now they can verify where you stand. Yeah, for the life of that loan.
So in the U.S., things are different, maybe different with their credit. So like, I think they used to say, if you check it too often, it affects your credit somehow.
It does. It does.
Okay.
Okay.
And that works for the Bahamas too?
That's the same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
So that also impacts your credit because you're actually now showing that you're a bit of a risk. And so to explain that a little bit clearer, if you go to various banks shopping around and you're having each bank complete an application for you, you just went to one bank, all of this is showing up on your report, number one. It's lowering your score, number two. And it's lowering your score because now it looks like you're shopping from bank to bank. This bank might have given you a loan. The loan hasn't gone through yet. You went to another bank to get the loan. So it's showing on your report as requested. It's not been approved as yet, but you already know that it's approved. We don't know until they actually turn it into the loan. And now you've went to the other bank to apply. The only good thing about the credit report is it does advise the other institution, hey, not what institution you went to, but that you went and you pulled, you have a requested credit for another $20,000. So this in itself increases also the extension to credit because it adds to your credit score because you've already requested it someplace else. And this can lower your score range.
Right.
So you pulling shows you to be some type of risk, become complete fraud by doing this.
So how do you avoid that if you just wanted to compare prices?
To
What do you do?
avoid all of this, you just come to the credit bureau, you get your credit score, you carry this information to the institution. Please let me know what I qualify for based on this prior to them completing the application.
Okay.
But if you go ahead and complete that application, they're going to pull your score, just letting you know, because it's in there. It's written in there.
And so you also follow bill paying, right?
Yes, we do. We do.
BPL, water and sewage.
Yes,
Are
so
they all now
They're
on
not
board?
all yet
They're
on
supposed to be,
board,
though.
but they're supposed to be.
So which ones
we
are?
Have, we have the telecommunication companies, and we also have Cable Bahamas so far. But all of those are what is the reporting that we're doing now. So when you
But
get a
not
credit
water
score
and electricity yet.
not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
What's the hold up there?
The holdup there is you have to remember. So, the credit bureau is new.
Right.
In us working with the central bank is definitely a partner that we work along with. We are licensed through the central bank. However, I will say certain laws that have been stated in the Credit Act haven't been implemented as yet, due to the fact that the credit bureau is new.
Right.
Now that we are now evolving into the maturity of the system now that we do have utilities on, because the utilities would have just began reporting earlier this year.
Right.
Now that we have utilities on, moving into next year, full mature report.
Right.
So meaning we were originally using a global score, which is a global score, and now we're going to localize that score to be more pertinent for the economy here in the Bahamas. And with us doing that, the system would reach maturity. In saying that, the central bank can now say, based on what the Credit Act says, if you are not reporting this information, we can fine you as an institution. But that is up to the central bank. That's not us.
Right.
We have nothing to do with that. We follow the law. So in other words, I'll say this. We are working with people to make sure that they understand what we're doing is benefiting them, and it benefits companies both ways, because any losses you have, it can assist with your losses for you to retain them back. And then also for the consumer, if you have good scores, this can help you not have a deposit. This can help you get lower percentage rates when you go into institutions for loans. This in itself helps you to manage what you have, and you have a clearer understanding of where you stand financially and possibly how you could further implement yourself to be a standing force within society. Because to me, being in charge of your finances is number one. When you are making moves as a business owner, when you're making moves, even as a consumer, because a lot of persons now are trying to attain loans for homes and they don't know where they stand. A lot of people think because, okay, it's my wife, it's me, I can just attain a loan, our two salaries have come together. It doesn't work like that because you're not sure if that person had bad credit before. And right now we're seeing the standard of persons who are receiving loans for mortgages are in the higher age range, the 40 plus. We're not seeing it in the lower age range. So that is something I know we are definitely working on within our economy, being able to offer, I guess, low income homes, because a lot of things, we have a lot of, I guess you could say, assets that can't be afforded right now based on where we stand financially. And it's because people are not being aware of their finances. People are not making sure that they're building and saving their money and preparing themselves for the future. And hopefully with this implemented, this allows an avenue for that. Because now you can watch your finances yourself. You can manage your finances. You can know where you stand. You can actually go in and bargain. It's not about a bank coming to you. It's basically you bargaining with them. They need your money. And a lot of people don't realize that. They need your money for them to be able to thrive. So you have to understand the force that you have, you know, within yourself.
So let's talk about how you improve your credit. So I got to go back to what I kind of knew about how it worked in the U.S. People would always say, "Oh, go get a TV on credit from this and make sure it's a monthly payment you could handle, and then you could start to improve your credit that way, just by doing that." Is that and does it matter how much it's for, or it just matters that you continually pay?
Yeah, once you're making continuous payments, according to your credit mix, all of that will help peak your score. If you're new to credit, you may not have a score. So the actual credit report will say you do not have a score due to insufficient information. Or if you're new to credit and you may have some type of credit, because you've only been reporting for a year, maybe a score hasn't been generated yet for you. So it takes about 2 years of you being in the system and having credit and paying your bills on time for us to generate that score. That's generally how it's set up.
Improving it, 2 years?
Yes, it's about 2 years also to improve it. So yes, we encourage persons to basically reorganize loans. And this is why, too, I said it's very important for you to have the credit officer's number, because you may know you're going down a path and they may be monitoring your loan and not seeing that path because you're doing everything to make sure you pay that loan on time. But you know where you stand. You know if this is the last set of money you have. You know if you're borrowing funds to make sure these loans are paid. So you actually make that stance and say, hey, I need some assistance. Help me get my credit intact. And this conversation you should actually be having with the loan officer. I'm also a financial planner, so this is why we also offer the services in our office where I will go through someone's credit report with them and actually advise them based on what I see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Caller, before we get to you, just wanted to know, is there an idea as to when the electricity and water utilities would be added?
I cannot say.
Yeah,
I cannot say. That is something we've been working on for a few years now, and we hope to have them on soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there an expectation that scores might tumble and fumble after they're added?
Well, no, I wouldn't say. You have to think about it this way. Telecommunications are already on.
Right.
So it is a chance a lot of people could tumble and fumble based on that information being on. But it's just about you maintaining your bills and paying them on time. I mean, it's sometimes we can simplify things that we make difficult. Go ahead to the caller.
Let's get to the call and then we'll come back. We're talking with Marissa Nixon with CRIF Bahamas. Caller, you're on the air. Are you there? Call us back, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-425. Now, you can call us, folks, 242-300-5720, toll free. Okay, your question.
I didn't forget.
Yeah.
I didn't forget. So let's go back to it. So services will be looked at differently from regular loans. So we would have completed surveys with all of the institutions prior to setting up the credit bureau. So we basically had an idea. We know the culture of the country in itself and all of those things. So that's why I said, too, we're now moving more towards a localized score. Because with the utilities on, of course, the utilities will gear a different analysis than you would have regular consumer loans.
So you all have formulas for these things.
There are formulas already in the system. I don't make the formulas. Like I said, I work for a number one credit bureau in Europe. So these are things that they've already done in other countries. We do have a main branch. Our database is actually based in Jamaica. We just finalized opening a credit bureau in Belize. So we're also about to open in Belize. So we're actually expanding throughout the Caribbean.
Because people will say that they only put so much on each month on the utilities, and some months it's under what's due, and some months it's over what's due, and that's how they do it. What would that do to your credit score?
Well, I think a lot of people have now noticed that changes have been made with the utility companies. They've been notifying you for probably over the past 2 years to pay your bills on time. After the second time the bill is late, I think bills are now being turned off. And this is being done because systems are being set in place. You should be paying your bills on time. A lot of people are willing to pay a late fee of $5 here and there, but add it up. Gas prices are going up. We don't need to be paying our bills. If we pay our bills on time, if we manage what we have, I know I'm probably going to get shot down for this. We should be able to afford it. I definitely make sure I manage what I spend. My utilities, I make sure I manage what I use. And I think it's very, very important. I think we have to be very conservative. If you have a plan, watch to see how far you've used that data. If you have access to Wi-Fi wherever you are, turn your data off and use the Wi-Fi. Like it's very simple. A lot of people don't do these things, but some of the richest people do these things. And this is why they are rich, because they are making sure they are taking care of what they have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When the BPLs and the water and sewer just do come on, though, some of it will be historical data, won't it?
All of it, yeah.
All of it will be historical.
Well, no. It's a part of it. So the law falls this way. All of the information that we receive, any active loans as of 2018 have to be reported based on the Credit Act. So if you had a loan from 1990, it's still active in 2018. That was reported to us. So that's a part of the historical data. So a part of what we required when we originally began, before we were able to get credit scores, were at least 2 years of data. So that historical data had to be given to us from the past, because we opened in 2021, so that we could even compute a score in itself. And that is a part of the requirement. So some of that historical data is there for you, not all of it. Once you've already paid off a loan, it will stay on your credit report for 5 years before it's removed.
Oh, wow.
And then it won't, that credit score anymore, you mean?
It won't impact your credit score, but it would be archived. So you have institutions who may ask, for example, they want to get the history of all their clients. They only can ask for their clients, specific institution. So that's a part. We provide data analysis, of course, because we're receiving so much data. So we are able to provide, even if it's already been archived, we're able to provide the history of their clients.
Do you provide a report to the central bank that's public now? They do a report on loans and how many people can get them, and how I guess just how. Yeah. But that you don't provide data for that particular report they do right now.
We provide a various amount of data. You would see by the Credit Act, we do have to report to the central bank. So I report to the central bank monthly and quarterly. And both reports are different. Monthly reports are just basic reports on institutions based on submission, the amount of data received, whether they have already given us data, if they're still testing, if they're having difficulties, the basic things. And then we also give reports on actual data that's being received, whether loans are late, whether loans are on time. Yeah, we give that information.
Okay, a lot of calls coming in and text messages. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning. I know it might be a bit above your pay grade here, but is there anything in the pipeline to affect these internet service providers and data providers selling you a plan and it expires like a month? Let's say you have your plan and you probably could use it for 6 weeks instead of 1 month, and then all just disappears. Anybody looking into the consumer and trying to see if they can keep their data?
Unfortunately, they're not a regulator or CPC, but
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
Consumer Protection Commission, right?
Unfortunately, I cannot answer that question for you. I do apologize, but I understand. I totally understand your question.
All right, let's take this call. Good morning, you're on the air. Hi, good morning, call. You're on. Yes, we can hear you. You're live. No?
Good morning. How you doing?
Okay, hi. Yes, we're doing well.
Yeah, you still have the lady from the bank on?
She's right here. From
Credit-
Bahamas,
yeah,
Credit Bureau.
Credit Bureau.
Marissa Nixon.
I'm a first-time caller. One of the things I wanted to look into, right? When I was much younger, I went to a particular bank to get a loan. So they asked me all my credentials, right? You know, I give them all my information. Then they asked if I had any life insurance or life policy. I said, yes. So they asked me to go and get that. They wanted to hold, I think, some collateral. So they held that as collateral, okay, against the loan. And in signing for the loan, I was reading something. And as I started to read, I was like, hold on. I think it was this company called Laurentide Insurance. I was getting $3,000. And I noticed they had a policy within the loan for $10,000. So I paused and I asked the loan officer, excuse me, why am I signing a loan for $3,000? And this policy is actually covering the loan for $10,000. So his response was, the banks, they're not allowed to cover no less than $10,000. But my question was just to him. I said, okay, so if I borrow a loan for $3,000, and just say my interest on the loan is $1,500, I have more than enough to cover that loan. Okay? If I was to come to the demise, what is going to happen with the balance of that insurance from the company that the bank have me insured for? What's going on with that money? Is that coming to me? Okay? Or they just covering the money? Or that's just a security loan because they're already holding my life policy. So this is two things that they have, okay, with the bank, and they're my life policy. I just wanted to address that. Can you some clarity on that?
Yeah, I am not sure of the policies for that bank. What I will say is just to have a clear understanding. It's in case you pass away during the time of that loan, the loan would have been insured. That's part of the reason most loans are, according to the type of loan, it can be insured. Otherwise, I'm not sure why they would have held both a policy and still insure the loan. I can't answer that question because a lot of banks have different policies. Like I said, these are questions you want to ensure you have a clear understanding of. And if it cannot be explained to you, don't move forward with the loan. Did you pay the loan off? Maybe I need to ask that.
Yeah, where did things stand with that? Because he's there when he was younger, right?
Yeah, when he was younger.
Let's take this call. Good morning, you're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
I think I have a loaded question. In retrospect, I applied for a mortgage last November, and they finally got around to pulling my credit, and they said something came up. When did the credit reporting start? Because I think I had something, maybe 12. So do you go back and check on delinquency? How far does it go?
Okay, so we don't go back and check on delinquency. As I said before, we're an information collection system. So we collect information. We're a repository. So that means that by that institution if you did not pay that bill off.
Okay, so is it the same criteria as the U.S., 7 years, and then it just erases off your report?
Okay, we have different laws here. The U.S. Has bankruptcy laws in place. We have bankruptcy laws in place, but I believe that they need to be re-looked at again.
Okay.
A lot of persons don't go through with carrying things to court to verify to make sure that they're thrown out, but institutions do carry loans to court, and once they receive judgment that you still have to pay them, it can still be recorded and reported because you would have signed a promissory note when you would have gotten the loan, so you would still owe that institution if you did not pay them off.
Okay. I missed it. Where are you located, and how can I get my credit report?
We are located on East Bay Street. We are next door to Double Dragon. So after you pass the second bridge, you're driving Bay, and we are in number 83 Global One House. It's a tan and white building right next door to Double Dragon.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot. This texter is asking, do early principal payments lower your credit score? Does that impact your credit score in any way?
No, early principal payments will not impact your credit score. The only thing the computer can see is when you are paying your loan.
You still need to make the monthly payments
Yes.
if there's still a balance.
What it will do is actually help you to pay off your loan prior to, and that, once it's recorded into our system, if you terminate your loan in advance, that will help to generate a better score because it's showing that you are able to pay those loans off in advance.
Yeah. This is an interesting question here. Does the credit bureau offer bank ratings for banking institutions? Does it? I don't know if I understand the question. The credit bureau also does it provide risks for each banking institution where loan facilities are established?
That's what them.
I mean, that's what the central bank does.
That's
right?
what Fitch and Moody's and all them for.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that's not what you all do.
No.
But the central bank does this outline of fees and comparison of all the banks.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can do that through the central bank.
Yes.
But not the credit.
Do your own rating.
No. Okay.
Do your own grading.
Yeah, right. Do is it? And Angie's List.
Yeah, exactly.
Come up with this bank over that one. This person says it's unfair to get a bad score for shopping around at banks. Well, you already explained how to do that.
Yeah.
It's if you go through with the application process.
Right. If you complete several applications, it's not unfair because it seems as though you are trying to complete fraud. You want to get your credit score from the credit bureau. You can get a credit score from the credit bureau, and you can still shop around without that impacting you. But you want to carry in your credit score and give it to institutions, letting them know that 5-4, not completing an application for a loan at each institution because it's extending your credit in itself. So it is going to lower your credit score automatically. If you apply for $20,000 at five different banks, you already now have an extension of $100,000 that can't be used because right now this is being processed at those 5 banks. So it's going to automatically lower your score in any event.
Right.
So insurance companies are monitored as well. Payment to insurance companies, is that part of it?
No, only insurance companies right now that complete mortgages are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, if you get to the stage where a bank is checking your credit, you've gone too far. If you're shopping around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you should know your credit score before you even go to a bank.
Right.
You should know where you stand financially before you go to an institution.
Right.
We're talking with Marissa Nixon with Criff Bahamas. This texter, they already answered the question, I guess. Should credit and credit rating discussions be a part of your pre-marriage conversation, since it might affect you, right?
Of course, let that be a part of the application process. If you're going to the doctor and getting verification, why wouldn't you check somebody's finances and make sure they're in order?
Go to the church and go to Criff.
What? The clinic? Church.
Oh boy, that's a different story.
You should.
Right. Good morning. Oh
The
boy.
triple C check.
Oh my gosh. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Hi.
When it comes to this credit rating and pertaining to BPL, it's really hard because BPL system of paying bills and the bills they give is totally out of whack, and and a lot of people complain about to be consistent with BPL. It is very difficult because they don't do the right billing. This last billing cycle, everybody And the parents was complaining about the outrageous bill. They're not consistent. And so, I mean, the consumer you cannot be consistent with the BPL files when it comes to paying the bills. I mean, so I mean, rating when it comes to BPL, I mean, that's a different situation altogether. What is your take on that?
The rating's only how you pay, right? That will how you pay will be impacted.
Right, on how you pay would be impacted. So the best thing I can say is try your best to pay your bills on time. Remember, services will be rated different. They will not be rated the same as you're paying a monthly consumer loan on a regular basis. It would be rated different because surveys would have been taken from these companies to find out the culture of our economy before ratings are placed. But paying your bill, I've had some time now to get together with this. I think we've had a lot of changes with the utility companies where they're sending you notices, they're sending you texts to your phones, they're sending you, it's a reason for all of it. It's not just being done and, they're just sending me another text. No, if your bill is due, please pay your bill or pay, even if you only can pay a portion right now and then pay the balance the end of the month, try to get those bills paid on time.
Business loans are still attached to people, right? Just in case people are wondering, they...
Okay, so just to have a clearer understanding, for a person who owns businesses, if you have a sole proprietorship is just like you having a loan in your name. So it impacts your credit directly. You as a person, whether you have a business that's named, so for example, Jane Doe trading as Services Bahamas, it's still going to impact your personal individual credit because it's a sole proprietorship. If your company is limited or incorporated, it's based on who owns the majority shares in that company. You can be recorded by the institution for the persons who own shares in that company to be attached to that business. So when your credit rating is pulled, your information is coming up to show that you have a business in this name. Right. So all of these things impact you.
So there's no separate one for your personal life and one for your
No.
business life?
You can pull just a business credit report.
Okay.
But I'm just saying if you're higher risk for that company, meaning that you have 80% shares.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it is going to be recorded and it will come up on your credit report.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So I think we asked about this earlier, but late payments. If you are late but you make the payment in full, what does that do to your credit score?
Even if you're late, once you're late, it's now you can actually file disputes with us also. So for example, if your loan doesn't pay it till the 3rd of July, some institutions do have a 3-day or 5-day intact, but the institution has those rules intact, whereas your loan isn't considered late. However, they have sent to us the information that your loan is due the 30th of every month. You can actually file a dispute with the credit bureau, whereas we would file that dispute on your behalf with the institution. Once the institution do not think it's late, they send us back a letter verifying that information. We can amend it. Otherwise, there are no amendments we can make to information that is sent from an institution unless they send information back to us verifying that it's incorrect or there is some proof from also the consumer. For example, you might have received a court judgment saying that you needed to be removed from a loan, a court judgment saying you no longer owe for this loan. Anything that's received proving the law precedes the law. So anything proving that you no longer owe for the facility, we can then amend. But we have to have proof of that information before we can do it. We cannot amend data that we receive because we don't see the data.
Right.
You get it?
Yeah.
We have about a minute left. You have
So the transmission of data to CRIF is automatic through banks, or is something that they do on a quarterly or monthly basis?
It's something
physically.
It's something we have it it's also stipulated in the law that they submit to us on a monthly basis. However, usually when persons are first onboarding with us, because you would now need to submit historic information, you could submit 20 times a day if you want to until you catch up to the current time. And then you go on to the monthly submission. So that's how we receive information. Information is secure in the sense that it comes through a system. So you have access to our system as an institution. You submit into it. It's not just access. You have to actually, IP addresses have to be confirmed, verified, all of that information. The institution also has to give us the persons who will have access to the system. We create passwords for them. So everything is protected. Authorization has to be given basically for everything. Everything is secured and protected.
So did most of them have to create departments for this particular thing, or a person?
No. You have adjudications usually set up in institutions. Some persons have adjudications. Some people may just use their loan team. It's according to how big the institution, according to how centralized they want to make the loan process in itself. So it's up to the institution, because money lenders are different from credit unions or commercial banks. So it's based on how you decide to differentiate that your policy is within.
And money lenders are.
I didn't include them. They are.
Yeah. All right. All right.
And auto loan companies that also give loans.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So the in-house financing.
Yes.
That is going to be part of the credit bureau.
It already is.
Okay. All right. You mentioned this last time. We got 30 seconds. So if you had been delinquent, you've paid only part of your loan, you paid late, but you've changed. You turned over a new leaf in 2025. How soon before you could see some real changes in your credit score?
It's going to take up to about 2 years before you see some change. And it's because we have to see the consecutive history with you. So same as, doing bad in school, you have to wait till the next semester for us to see that you've improved your grades. So it's the same way. It's the same way with the credit bureau. It's a period of time to show consistent payments are being made. You probably need to reorganize your loans too, because it's probably your extension to credit that's also having you have that lower score. It's probably a variety of things that need to be done to ensure that you have your finances back in order.
Yeah. And if you come into money and you pay off all the loans that were a little behind and delinquent, can that improve your credit score immediately, or it doesn't work like that?
No.
It doesn't improve your credit score immediately. It will show paid off on the report. However, it's up to 5 years that recording of bad payment will remain on your report, your history, because it's actually showing lenders whether you're high risk, you are now a better client or not. This is how we assess that credit and be able to perform the analysis.
Okay.
Improving your credit is like dripping water. Just
Consistency.
My goodness.
It's a marriage.
It really sounds like it. Marissa Nixon, thank you so much for being here this morning. I think we're going to have to do this often to get people to pay attention to this stuff.
Not a problem.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you to Criff Bahamas for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
Chester Robards, thank you for being here this morning.
Always a pleasure.
I'll see you again next week. And don't forget to pick up today's Nassau Guardian for the Guardian Business section for the latest in business news. This portion of the show brought to you in part by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight, Strachan, have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at on Building Wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.